this is Nathar at CrowSong Lodge, and I'm back again today with another video. Sorry this one's coming out late. I did another video instead, and then it turned out I hated it. So we're doing this one instead while I figure out what I want to do to reshoot that one. Today I want to talk about shadow work because it's a conversation that we've been having a lot in various different communities. What is shadow work, why you want to do it, and all of that good kind of stuff. And I realized I haven't done a shadow work video yet, so we're going to do that today. So let's go ahead and first start out by talking about what is shadow work. When we're talking about shadow work, what are we talking about? So first of all, let's give credit where credit is due. Carl Jung is the first one who started talking about this kind of work as shadow work. He was a psychotherapist in the same field as, in the same vein as Freud. Often considered one of his most accomplished students, kind of a big hotshot. He made a lot of changes to the field, but he was a little bit more woo-woo than Freud was, and so a lot of his teachings have influenced the New Age community as well, and the witchy community and all that. He was really into like archetypes and dream interpretation and that kind of stuff as well. So he's kind of planted the seeds for a lot of thoughts and stuff. Of course, shadow work has really evolved since then, so what we refer to now as shadow work isn't really exactly his idea, but he is the first one who coined it as like shadow work. So when we're talking about shadow work, what we're talking about is working with or through that stuff that we normally as a society or as individuals keep out of the light, hence shadow. So these are things that you're ashamed of, things that you're unaware of, things that you're afraid of, things that you are trying to keep hidden from yourself or from others, things that it doesn't feel okay to discuss, things that are scary, traumas that you might have experienced, unconscious biases. A lot of dream work is shadow work because it's part of the unconscious realm or subconscious realm. So the things that don't normally are part of the light. So all that kind of stuff. And shadow work is normally really, really hard. It's not all magic work. In fact, I would say most of it is not magic per se. A lot of it is in the realm of psychology, knowing yourself. It's really much more foundational, and it's a lot less glamorous than a lot of the other witchy or new age and metaphysical things that we do. And this can be really hard to do, and a lot of communities shy away from it. They'll be like, you need to do your shadow work, but no one will talk about how to do it or what their experience was like, because a lot of communities aren't willing to go there, especially the ones that focus on being positive all the time and want to avoid talking about negativity, or are very into the law of attraction. Like, if you think negative thoughts, negative things will happen to you, which, by the way, I think is total BS. Keep it positive, focus on the good in life. Like, that kind of stuff is very like antithetical to shadow work. When we're doing shadow work, we're sitting with those things that people don't normally want to talk about or feel comfortable talking about. We're sitting with those things that are really hard to talk about. We're kind of getting down and dirty with ourselves and digging into those really, really difficult things and facing them with the idea that we're going to bring them to resolution or understanding or figuring out how to work with them. So it's a lot of hard work, and it is really in the realm of know thyself. A lot of times this is done through dream time. A lot of times this is done through meditation. A lot of times this is done through journaling. But you can absolutely just take it to a professional, a counselor, a priest, a therapist, a psychiatrist, your best friend over tea. Like, a lot of times you don't have to do shadow work on your own. That is not something that has to be a solo project. It absolutely can be, but it does not have to be. When you get together with your girls or your boys and you're just bitching about your day, or talking about what a terrible parent you had, or talking about this frustrating thing that you keep doing that's holding you back from your goals in life, all of that kind of stuff is shadow work. That's kind of like really casual shadow work that we do in our everyday lives. But when you're sitting down to do shadow work, you're kind of making it a deep dive. You're being really intentional about it, and you're going to work through it to completion. It's not just taking the edge off. When we have those bitch sessions or we're blowing off steam or whatever, that's taking the edge off so that you don't blow up later, or you don't melt down, or you can relax for the rest of your evening. But when you're doing shadow work, the idea is to come to some kind of resolution with those situations or objects or energies that you're dealing with. Ideally to either root them out, eliminate them, heal them, resolve them, let them go, or to accept them and find a way to work with them so that they're no longer a hindrance, to fully assimilate them in a way that's healthier. So shadow work for each individual is very, very unique, but more broadly for everybody, it's kind of the same and similar. We all struggle through it. Shadow work is not easy. It's not fun, but it is absolutely necessary if you want to grow as a human and let go of your issues and stop letting things hold you back. We all have shadow work to do. There's never a period in time when you're done, because as we resolve certain shadows, we're also developing new ones. It's just part of being a human or living being. Just like I said, while you resolve one issue, you're probably developing another one. So, some people do shadow work on an ongoing basis. These people, for example, tend to be like the regular journalers who are really just like, they do their daily or weekly like mind dump. They sit with themselves and they reassess everything that they've been through, notice little quirks that they've been picking up, and they kind of like do a regular maintenance. Me, I'm more of a person that's like, okay, I notice that I have a lot of garbage I've built up now. I seem to need to sit down and do this. And I will just like take on shadow work for a few months, kind of clear everything up, and then back to what I was doing again. A lot of times people's, in the witchy community, their most familiar aspect with shadow work is through the 2nd degree Wiccan initiation, which is a pretty cool thing. But it's absolutely not exclusive to Wicca, and you don't need to be initiated to the 2nd degree in order to start it. Anyone can start shadow work. The problem that I see is that in a lot of different communities, especially online or around Twitter or Instagram or whatever, someone will say something like, hey, I'm struggling, or this is a thing that keeps happening to me, or whatever, and other people will be like, you need to work on your shadow work. And that's it. That's all the support that they give to a person. And a lot of times it's viewed as something that you have to do on your own, but you absolutely don't. You can do it as part of a group, or you can do it with a friend, like in the buddy system or something. You can bounce your thoughts off a partner, so you can just have like a support person who's cheering you on. So the way that you address shadow work is going to be very unique to your particular needs. But the point of shadow work is not to gloss over whatever issues you're dealing with. That's spiritual bypassing, and we are not okay with that. It is not to gloss over the issues that you're dealing with. It's not to put on a happy veneer. I'm just not going to think about that anymore. I'm letting it go. I'm just not thinking about it anymore. It's to really resolve them completely so that you can move on and not have them be an issue anymore in a healthy way. When you gloss them over and you do the spiritual bypassing thing, those things come back and bite you in the ass later. You're just pretending they're not there, and that never works that well. But the idea with shadow work is to resolve them and really let them go so that they don't come back and bite you later in a very healthy way. And for everybody, like I said, that means something different. Shadow work is very difficult, and it's very, very personal. I'm not sure how much more information I can give you, but let me give you an example of shadow work that I have done myself. Example. Okay, so some shadow work I'm working on right now, I'm not even totally sure what the actual issue that I'm dealing with is right now. But I know that I've been having a really hard time totally focusing on the projects that I'm working on. I get distracted really easy. I just feel really scattered. It's hard to keep my brain on task and that kind of thing. So for me, I have been trying to make it a point. I haven't been 100% on it, but I'm doing pretty good now. Of just taking 15 minutes to journal. And the reason I chose a specific amount of time, so just like journal every night, is that I have to keep writing for 15 minutes. And it doesn't matter to me because I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what I'm trying to get out of my brain. So the reason why I'm doing that is that I'm just going to stream of conscious, like whatever my brain comes up with that it wants to talk to me about, I'm just writing it down. And I'm going to write it down, and I'm going to keep doing that 15-minute thing until whatever it is that my brain has been chewing on and the root of this distraction comes out. So I'm basically just doing like a brain dump every night so that my brain can have a chance to share with me what it's thinking about. I'm not even going to try to direct it. I'm just saying like, okay, brain, you can say whatever you want on this paper and I'm going to listen to you. And that's your way of communicating with me. And then, I read over it after the 15 minutes and see if there's any real issues that are coming up. Right now, my brain is kind of working through all this chaff. So once I start seeing that issue coming out, then I'll know where to focus my shadow work on. So sometimes your shadow work is really, really messy like that, but it's a really good way to get in touch with yourself. So that's an example of how I'm working on shadow work right now. So if you have experience doing shadow work, if you have any tips, it's really hard to find this because like people are just like, journal, go for walks in the woods. Like sharing personal experiences about shadow work and stuff, I think is a great way to start on shadow work. So if you want to share your experiences with things that have worked for you or what you're working on too, or if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments and let's have a good conversation about this, you guys. Like, let's get down to the nitty gritty and stop talking in broad strokes and start talking specifics. I hope that you found this video helpful. And if you did, please give me a thumbs up down there because it really helps me out. And why don't you subscribe and stick around? This is Nathara at CrowSong Lodge, and I'll talk to you again real soon. Bye.